Hi guys, it's Maggie
and Emma,
and welcome back to another episode of Love You Bye. Today we have our first guest on the show and I'm super excited about this one. Jessica Stockstill is going to be joining us today and we're going to talk all things social media, career, what it's like being a mom because she is a new mother and so much more. But first, we're going to get started with our peak and the pit of the week. This is our weekly tradition where we just share the highest and lowest moments that happened to us this week. And we're going to include Jess in on this so she can talk about her peak and pit too.
Of course. You
I didn't have time to think. Okay, you guys go first.
I'll start with my peak. Oh my gosh, I have so many peaks, but I don't know which one to share. The last 2 days, I had so much fun. On Monday, I got to hang out with some of my friends and I went to New York City and I just had so much fun. And then on Tuesday, I had Friendsgiving at my friend Paige's house it was like a Friendsgiving for her brand. And it was just like so much fun seeing a ton of the girls that I don't normally see. Like I only see them when I'm at like influencer events and stuff like that. But it was just so nice to see everybody and just hang out and have like a wholesome little time. And then I'd say my pit would have to be, the fact that it gets dark at 4. It's hard to get used to right now. The transition's weird, but it's okay.
Jess, you want to go?
Sure. I think my peak, I have 2 peaks. Probably, today was a good day because I took Sky to the doctors and she's just doing so well. So it just makes me happy and like feel blessed. And probably finding out that we're going to Hawaii was a huge peak. And I'm so excited. I can't wait. Like my whole family's going, so it's going to be a good time. And then my pit, I honestly can't even think of a pit.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We'll keep it positive.
My peak of the week, I think, is that I had a really good Thanksgiving despite having to go to my mom's house and my dad's house, which is something I'm not used to because our parents have only been divorced for like 4 years, I think, maybe 5, I don't know. But holidays have just been so weird in the past and we've either had to choose like to be with my mom and her new family or to be with my dad and his family. And this year was the first year that I went to my dad's house in the morning on Thanksgiving and spent it with him and his family and then drove to my mom's house and spent the night with her and her family. And it just made me really happy to just spend time with everybody, honestly. In my pit, okay, the other day I was so excited to set up my Christmas tree and I go to set it up and mind you, this thing is huge. It's like a 7-foot fake tree and I bring it up from the basement, get it all set up, decorate it with all these little ornaments that I have. And I was so excited, like that feeling when you just plug in the lights at the end and the whole thing lights up and it looks so cute. Half of the thing is burned out, the lights. my tree.
Doesn't that tree come with the lights too?
Yes, and like the thing about a fake tree is that you can't just like
wrap lights around it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do because I'm like, honestly, I'm not gonna tear the tree down and throw it out because I already put it up. I'm just gonna probably get another strand of lights and put it on the top of it. But I just like, oh my God. And then people were commenting on my vlog, being obviously so sweet and saying, like giving me advice on how to fix the top lights, like tutorials and stuff and links in my DMs about how I have to like go to the hardware store and get this thing that you like test the lights. And I'm like, this is too much. Like I'd rather just like throw it away and forget about it and like get a new tree, like a real one, like I hate the type of stuff where it's like too much effort. I'd rather just like eat the money and just get rid of a tree. Like gives me anxiety. So that's my pit. It's like been stressing me out, but it's okay. And yeah, that is my story. Put the tree aside, let's get on into the episode. And if you guys don't know who Jessica is, she is a lifestyle YouTuber, content creator. She's a wife, she's a mom.
Wifey.
And tell the audience about yourself. I want you to honestly kind of get into your background before YouTube and just kind of tell people where you're from, where you went to school, and all that stuff like that, what you did in college.
Okay. So I am originally from Michigan It's called Rochester Hills. It's right outside of Detroit. And I lived there my whole life, like bounced around different houses like around that area. And I was an athlete my whole life. I did gymnastics for most of my years, ran track, played volleyball, everything under the sun. We're a very like athletic family, very into sports. And so that ended up getting me a scholarship to run track at Middle Tennessee, which is in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So that was my first time moving away, like 18 years old, 10 hours away. And I loved it. I was so excited to go. I was like in the car driving myself to school. And that's where I met my husband, Brent. He was on the football team, and his dad is a football coach. So he's always wanted to coach his whole life. So then when we both graduated, he got into coaching, and then that's where it took us everywhere. And I lived in Florida for a while. I feel like that's kind of when my YouTube and everything took off. And it just worked out so well because in his profession, he has to pick up and move all the time. And I knew I wanted to do something like this. And I never really realized until I looked up and I was like, whoa, like this couldn't be more perfect because I can always just go and not have to worry about like, where am I going to get another job? Or like, what am I going to do? Because I am like a workaholic. Like I have to be doing something and I just love it. It worked out so perfectly. So we were in Boca Raton and then we moved to Tampa for a year. And then now we're back where we met in Murfreesboro.
I love that you guys are back and you also had your first baby in the same town that you guys met and you live there now together. I feel like it's really special.
It's crazy. It's like such full circle.
Honestly, when you started YouTube, because we started the same year in 2017, and when you started, were you already done with sports? Or
no, I illegally started. Like the NCAA back when I was in school, my senior year was 2017. You weren't allowed to do any type of social media like that where you were like promoting anything. And I still had one season left. So I was like hiding it. I was like legit vlogging at track meets because I just like wanted to just share my life. No one was even like watching at this point. And so yeah, I was just doing it like my senior year kind of for fun. Like I just picked up a camera and just started vlogging back when like vlogging wasn't, remember it was like sit down videos in the beginning?
Yeah, and like beauty routines and
stuff. Yeah. And I was like, I would do like makeup tutorials and then I would like vlog my life. And I was like a broke college student, like broke college athlete. And I don't know, it just went from there.
It's funny because a lot of the questions we got sent in for you this episode, which we're going to get to at the end, a lot of people were asking how we met. And I wanted to just tell this story because I just talking about when you started YouTube and how it was like in 2017, the year that I started, and it was back when people did a lot of sit down videos and beauty stuff. My roommate in college, Kaylee, came into my room once and she had, I don't know what she was doing, something about drying her hair. And she was like, you're not allowed to put it up in a towel because it's going to break your hair. And I'm sitting there like, okay, like, where did you hear that from? Because I do that every single day. And she's like, I learned it on YouTube from Jessica Howell. And I was like, Jessica Howell? Who's that? And so that's the first time I ever like got introduced to you and your content. And then I know Emma started watching.
I became
your
obsessed
vlogs.
with your videos. I would watch your vlogs all the time. And when Maggie and I lived together, I would put them on the TV all through the day. Like we would just like put them on shuffle and your intro would come in and her and I would dance to your intro song to the point where I added it to my playlist summer 2019 because I loved your intro song.
And we would see like all of your family trips going to
New Jersey
and the beach house. It's really funny. So, and then we ended up officially meeting later that year. And the rest is history.
Yeah, that was the best trip. It's like when you meet someone and you instantly know, like, I'm going to be friends with these people forever. That's what it was.
I know, it felt like we had known each other for our whole life.
Yes. Yeah.
And then even though we don't live in the same city, I feel like we always make an effort to be together and see each other and talk on the phone and call each other. And
but also with our job, like watching each other's videos and stuff, I feel like we're still, I don't know, like I feel like I'm still caught up and I know everything that's even if we haven't like texted in like 2 weeks or talked in a few weeks, it's like I still know what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like your friends that don't do it, they keep up with you so they know what's going on, but you never know what's going on with them because they're not like telling you like play by play, but they're like, oh yeah, they're good. I know they're good.
Yeah.
And I found out on Thanksgiving that my Nana watches my videos and she starts talking about all this stuff and she's like, oh, I saw that in your vlog. And I was like, Nana, I didn't even know you knew what I was doing. And my grandpa watches too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's why they don't call me.
That's how Grandpa keeps up with what we're doing. He'll watch what we're doing and then he'll talk to me about it when I see him.
It's really
So
funny
good.
because social media is just such a, I don't know, it's just funny to me that you can know so much about somebody's life just by watching. But do you think, Jess, that YouTube is going to be something that you want to do forever? Like, what do you want to do with your career right now? Because I feel like social media gets really different, like once you start having a family and stuff. So like, what do you see yourself doing in 5 years?
I totally was thinking about this. It's so weird you ask. I was thinking about this the other day. And I feel as though like when I started YouTube, nowadays when people go, oh, I want to be a YouTuber, they see what we're doing and they're like, I want that to be my job. I think when I started YouTube, that was never even in my mind at all, that I was just sharing my life. And I literally looked at it as like another platform, how we all have Instagram, we all had Facebook, MySpace, like all of that stuff. And YouTube is like another platform where I am just like documenting memories. Like to this day, I think of it like that. Yes, it's become a career, but I never think like, what do I want to do with my career? Because at the end of the day, I'm still just like filming for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's why so many people love your content, because you can see how authentic it is when you watch your videos and you really get like behind the scenes of your family.
Yeah,
and what
family.
you're going, like what you're doing in real life. Like you never come across as filming content because you want to like make it look
Right.
aesthetic, you know, and like make content, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
you
And I
really just-
love those videos. The people that do that take so much time and like it really is amazing to like see stuff like that. And you go, wow, like, but then when I think about it, I'm like, I started this as literally like when you play your old home videos on the TV and you're like, oh, look at me when I was 4 or whatever. It's like, I was just watching the Hawaii vlog from 2017 when I went, and to like now be going back on this trip, but like go back and relive those memories. It's like crazy. I don't feel the need to ever like stop anytime soon.
Do you think that you ever want to start a business or anything like that? Because I feel like a lot of people, when they get a presence on social media, everybody asks, well, what business are you going to start?
Right.
Are you going to do a clothing line? Are you going to do skincare? Are you going to do makeup? I feel like you're very present and in the moment. And I feel like you just like to take things like day by day.
Yeah, I don't know. I've done it like rush. I did like I have all these ideas, and at the end of the day, I think like it's such a like someone has a following and they're like, okay, what can I do to make more money? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And it's like I don't want to rush anything. You know, I'm not like looking to start something and hurry up and just slap something on the table for people to like spend money on. So as of now, like no, there's nothing I'm like working on or any type of business that I am like excited about, but definitely like want to get into maybe something like real estate or something like that.
I feel like that would be so fun for you and Brent to have different properties.
It would be so fun.
And then that'd be, I don't know, I feel like real estate is a really smart way to like also make a lot of money and invest your money.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, like, it really just does it for you.
Yes. And then just over time, like the more you can own, the better. And then you turn around and you've got how many kids, and like it's going to cost $1 million to buy a 1-bedroom house by the time they grow up. Like it's going to be crazy.
And speaking about family and kids, you have a daughter. What is it like being a mom, and what is something you've learned about motherhood that nobody has told you before you had Sky? Because I feel like you're a very, very young mom. Not a lot of people that I know have kids except for you. And
Same.
You're same.
And so I just feel like there's no like book, or at least that's what my dad said. He's like, you can't read a book about parenting. Like you just figure it out. How has it been for you? And what's the biggest thing that you've learned?
Well, first of all, being a mom is my favorite favorite job or thing in the entire world. It is, and you'll hear so many people say it's like the hardest but the most rewarding thing, and it's like couldn't be more true. She is just everything. Like I don't remember life without her. Like it almost, I look back and I'm like, what was I doing? Like what was I doing without Sky? But I think it really is such a change in your life when you have kids. And I think the biggest thing that I took from it all is honestly to slow down, because I've always been go, 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 go. What can I do? What can I work on? What can I? And like I had her, and it just like made me want to appreciate so many more small things. And like it is literally like even just us leaving the house and going to Publix, like walking to the car and her holding my hand, and it takes us 2 minutes just to get to the car. But it's like the best 2 minutes that I never had before. And it is just like, I don't know, I just light up talking about everything. And you guys will see like one day when you have kids, it's just, you can't really explain it until you like live it.
Yeah. And you're such a good mom too. Like when I was visiting you a couple of weeks ago, just seeing the way that you guys are together, because I've known you since before, obviously you had Sky, and then while you were pregnant, and then just like seeing you guys together, it's just, I don't know, it's so makes it me so excited to see her like grow up and have you as a mom, because just you and like yourself and the way that you present yourself and how you are as a person, I feel like you are just going to raise like such amazing kids. And
oh my gosh, you're gonna make
she's
me
going to
cry.
be just such like a little, I can see her now being such a mini you and helping out with like all the other kids. And
she does have that energy. She's like such a lover, big sister energy. She's like the perfect first child.
And I feel like she's very wise. And something that I noticed was about little kids, that sometimes when you see kids that are like 1-2 years old, you're like, I don't know, sometimes I'm just like, what's going on in their head? Like they just seem like they're like, blah, blah, blah. Like there's something about her. She's like way older in her soul than like she actually is in her body. I feel like she's so wise, like beyond her years.
It's so crazy. Like when you said that to me before, and I was like telling Brent, I'm like, Maggie, put this in words, like in a way, like I think this, but I like can't put it into words, of like when you're in her presence. Sometimes I feel like she's even beyond my years. Like I'm like, her presence is just like, it's crazy. She's so good.
And how do you manage your energy levels throughout the day having a 1.5-year-old? Because I feel like it takes a lot to be creating content and doing YouTube, because you have to kind of be like on camera all day, and that can take a lot out of you. But like, how do you deal with everything at once? Because I feel like that is a lot.
It just is a lot. I really don't. It just is exhausting. Some days I'm like so much more upbeat than others. Some days I'm like, I'm taking a mom day. You know how like, even for you guys, and I remember like before I had Sky, you'll like be filming and then you're editing. And then one day you wake up and you're like, I'm not doing this right now. Like I deserve to just like sit on my couch and just close my eyes for a second. That like doesn't happen anymore when you have kids. So it's like, I call like an off day from work, like a mom day. Like I just need to like be super present and play with her. And it's so much to like schedule out your days like for work. And any like full-time moms out there probably understand that it's just like there's no time off, like ever. You never shut off ever.
And I feel like it can be hard. I mean, I don't know because I haven't experienced being a mom yet, but being yourself and being Jessica while still being Sky's mom. I feel like you do a really good job at that though.
I had her and I like made it such a point to do that, because it is so hard. You really just want to like, especially postpartum, you like look in the mirror and then you have this baby and you're like, I just want to give up everything and like be with this baby. And it's to this day, it gets harder and harder. Like I try to do things for myself. I try to make it on these trips, and I try to dress how I would before I had a baby. And like, I don't want there to be any, I mean, I'm definitely a new person having a baby, but I'm still so much myself. And I like really try to focus on that. Because, and we talked about this when you were here, like they grow up and they move out in 18 years, and like, then you have yourself and your spouse, and if you put it all, every single thing into your kids and never worked on yourself at all. It's really, really hard.
Yeah. And what are some things that you do to still focus on yourself and give yourself like that love?
I think, I really feel like I never have time to like work out anymore, but I try to. And oh my gosh, that's like a good, I really don't. Other than whenever we go on a trip, I love that because I feel so refreshed when I come back.
Yeah, because it is hard too, because with what we do for work and being a content creator, like you don't go to work. A lot of parents leave and they go to work and their kids are either being watched by family or going to daycare, and they have kind of that time to step away and go do their job and then come back home, but you can't do that.
No, and sometimes I envy that. Like sometimes I'll like Brent will come home from a long day and he's like so just upbeat and excited. And I'm like, I've been going all day. Like I'm like so ready to just like lock myself in the bathroom and just like take an hour shower.
Well, you can go sit in your sauna.
Oh yeah, now I can go sit in the sauna and just sweat.
I know that you have said you want a lot of kids. How many kids do you think that you and Brent want to have? And when
do you want boys and girls, or like how many, if you could choose, what would you?
If I could, well, obviously I just really, I don't know. I feel like everyone says they want a lot of kids and then they have one. And then you're like, wait a minute. I still want a lot just because I come from like 2 siblings, Brent's 2 siblings, at least 3, but pregnancy was so hard for me. Like it was so hard. So I don't know. And I would love 4, but I'd probably want more girls.
More girls?
Really?
Yeah. I love, like when I found out that I was having Sky, everyone was like, you're having a boy, Everyone thought I was having a boy. So I like psyched myself out that I was having a boy, and I was excited because everyone wants the boy first to be the big brother and everything. But I think when I found out, I like had a relief. Like I just couldn't see my life without a daughter. But now I feel that way about Brent. Like I'm like, I have to have a boy because he has to know like what it's like to have a son.
Yeah, I feel like you're definitely gonna have a boy. I don't know if it's gonna be.
We're a
I don't know
football
if it's gonna
family.
be your
I was
next
gonna say
one,
you
though.
have to. You guys have to have a boy to be like a football player. But also, I could see like Brent being a father to just girls. You know?
Right.
Oh my gosh,
Like
he
I
would
could
be
so see that.
a good.
And, like,
well, he already
that
is such a good girl dad.
He really is. He's like the calmest, most gentle soul, like the most patient. He's like the perfect girl dad. But he also is like meant to have a son.
Yeah, like a little mini Brent. And Mitchell needs a nephew.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
Mitchell.
remember when you were pregnant and I had a dream and I woke up from being like sound asleep, and I remember I texted my friend Kaylee, and I think I told Emma, and I was like, I had a dream that Jessica called me and she said, I'm pregnant. And I was like, I know that they want to have a baby and they have been trying, but I hadn't talked to you. Like last time I had talked to you, you said that you weren't pregnant, like you got your period and you knew.
Yeah.
And then we hadn't talked about it in a few weeks, and I didn't want to call you and be like, hey, this is the dream that I had, because I didn't know what was going on. And I never wanted to like bring it up because I know that can be like a sensitive, I don't know, like topic to people. And then you ended up calling me 2 weeks later and you were like, I have to talk to you about something. And I was like, okay, what? And you were like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, I literally had a dream. I think that I'm a little bit psychic and I can like predict things and see the future. Because I knew that you were pregnant with Sky before you had even told me.
You've always had like weird intuition with so many things though.
She's crazy.
Yeah, she is crazy.
Everything.
Like, yeah, she always, and then she'll like tell me, she'll be like, I just had a dream about this, and then it'll happen.
And then it happens.
Yeah, and then you'll like have a
this.
dream, yeah, or see someone in your dream, and then you like see them or something.
I know, it's crazy.
Oh, you'll see like a crazy sign.
It's the signs, and then people think I'm crazy, and I'm like, I saw a sign about this, and they're no, you're literally crazy. And then I'm like, I'm not kidding, and then something will happen, and they'll be like, wait, actually, like you're not crazy.
Can I tell one quick story about one of your signs? She had this like sign, like one of her things that she asked God for was like a sign of, so random, church bells in a Hummer.
What?
We're in.
Not
Listen,
$50
no,
an hour.
stop.
This
Listen,
is crazy.
we're walking down the street in Chicago. We literally were heading. We left our hotel. We had like a few minutes spare. We needed a snack. So we're on our way to Whole Foods to get food. We're walking by, like, it looks like there's like, we see a ton of people down the street at a church, and it's a wedding. All these flowers in the air, like little like things flying around, and like people. Church bells start going off. We keep walking. There's a Hummer limo out
A
front.
Hummer limo pulled up. No, I think my signs were church bells, a limo, and a Hummer. And it was all three of them together. And I was like, oh my God. Because I remember this was like 2 summers ago, and there was something that I just like needed clarity on. So I'm like, God, please, can you please give me a sign? This is what I want to see. This, and this. And then all of a sudden, like I literally saw all three.
All three while we're walking down the street of a city.
Yeah,
It
it
was
happened.
so
That's
random.
crazy.
But anyway, yeah, do you have any plans or ideas on when you want to have baby number 2? Because I know literally when I was looking through the questions, everybody was asking, when's baby
Yeah, do you
number 2 coming?
do you want to plan out like how far apart that they are, and like is there any thought between like
And do you
want the
feel
guy to be a
pressured,
few years
honestly?
older?
The only pressure I feel is like, I don't know. I feel like I want to have so many before a certain age. So that's the pressure. I really wish we just didn't have a clock, you know, and that we could just have one 10 years later and, oh, I'm bored. All of them are out of the house, and have another one. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
so that's like really, I think every woman feels that pressure. Like you get to a certain age and you're just like, but if I want this many, then I need to have one now. And if I want this many, so no, I don't know. We talk about it all the time. I mean, I have to really mentally prepare myself for pregnancy just because of how hard my first one was. So I think that's really the only thing holding me back. The other thing is I am I love the stage she's at right now. And the first year was like, well, not even the first year, like the first 6 months is like such a newborn like phase. Like they can't like do much, and it's a lot of work and a lot of not sleeping. And I like tell Brent, I'm like, if I could just pop out another 1.5-year-old right now, like I would have 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that not a lot of people think about when they are thinking about kids. I feel like especially with this, in this day and age with social media, you just see people with their toddlers and they are so cute, and you're like, oh my God, I want a million kids because look how cute they are, all dressed up and they can talk and they have little personalities. But
Yeah.
like having a newborn is so much work. It's like they can't talk or express how they feel, and they're
Yeah,
just
it's
so
like
new in
very
the world.
worrying. Yeah.
That's crazy. I
That's
can't
something
even-
that scares me, and I'm so far away from having a kid. It's like when you have one and then it's like they can't talk, and you like if something's not okay, you don't know, you can't ask because they can't tell you.
Yeah.
And have you ever heard about the saying that when you have a girl, that she takes all of your beauty away when you're pregnant, and it's like harder when you have a girl, and then when you have a boy, he doesn't do that?
Yeah.
And
And
your
you're not supposed to
pregnancies
get
when
as
you have
sick
boys?
either. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard that on the Kardashians. But I feel like maybe that's why you were so sick and struggled so much when you were pregnant with Sky.
Yeah, I think that it definitely has to be something like that. And just the fact that it was like the first time my body was ever like doing it. So we'll see.
Like we do every week, we have questions from you guys. And this week it's questions for Jessica that were sent in by all of you. So first question, how do you balance adult friendships when you're starting a family?
That's a good one. It is so different. And I feel like so many of your friends that don't have babies can't relate anymore. And you really drift from a lot of people. And it's really sad. I'm like the first of all my friends to have a baby. And I feel like that's been really hard. But I feel like you find out who your true friends are once you have a kid and they're checking in on you, checking in on your baby, and things like that. So it is hard to manage. I've always kind of kept my circle small though. So I haven't had to run into too many crazy things with that. But yeah, it's definitely different.
And I feel like it's hard with the whole friendship thing when you're an adult, because what you do for work and what Brent does for work, you guys are moving to a different place every year. So even if you make friends with the wives on the team or people that live in the town that you move to, you
Mhm.
just have to pack everything up the next year if you guys are moving to a different city, a different state. And then that must be so hard to just leave those friendships behind. Although you can still obviously be friends with people when you live in different areas.
Mhm.
We know that, but I feel like that's something that would be so difficult.
Totally.
And also, a lot of people were writing in about, do you think that friends should normalize growing apart? And this is something that you and I talk about all the time. I feel like with our life also being so public on social media and being in different friendships and having it be blasted all over the internet, people get, obviously they ask questions when they see you not hanging out with people anymore. They're like, oh, well, what happened to this person? How come you don't hang out with this person anymore? There must be drama. And I feel like you are the type of person where you do not like drama and you read people really well. And I feel like you don't let people into your life right away. Like it takes you a little bit to let people in. And then once you know if they're a good person, you keep them in your life. And like, I feel like you're just very in tune with that. And
Yes.
how do you feel about like normalizing friendships growing apart?
Like you said, like I feel like I can meet someone and like know right off the bat if like I'm going to like have a long-term relationship with them. I'm a very loyal friend. Like I'm like a ride or die, like stand with you type of girl and like friend. And I look at all of my friendships like I treat them like I would like treat Brent in a way, you know, like I'm going to stand by your side. If this is how you feel about something, like I'm going to be a voice of reason. But at the end of the day, like I don't really do well with like, what do you call it? Like acquaintances or like meaningless relationships. Like I'm not good at small talk. I really like to get deep. I really have always kept a small circle because it's hard to find like good people that are on the same wavelength as you in the sense of like caring about deeper things in life.
And I feel like a lot of it is quality over quantity.
Absolutely. And it's just having the time too, the time and the energy and like what you're pouring it, and who you're pouring it on. What?
Where you're,
You know
Like
what I'm saying.
Yeah, where you're putting your energy. And also, I feel like it's just so normal for people to grow apart, especially when you get older, because your life
everyone's at different points
changes.
of their lives.
Yeah, and your interests change. And I think that that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're bad people, like
Yeah,
either side.
totally.
I feel like it's just such a normal thing for people to grow apart. And honestly, I feel like don't ever be discouraged or feel bad if one of the friendships in your life happens to like fizzle out. Like I always am just grateful for the person in my life when they were in my life, the joy that they brought me, the times that we had together. But if we're not growing together, then don't let that affect you personally, because I feel like it just makes room for new relationships and new people to come in your life. A lot of questions I feel like we're about being married and being with the same partner for a very long time, because you and
What?
Brent have been together. Yeah, all the questions you should see. It was like about Sky, family, Brent, and people are very interested to know how to handle disagreements, first of all, with a long-term partner, because you guys have been together for a really long time and through so much together. Like, how do you guys handle your disagreements and arguments? Because I feel like you guys have such a strong relationship, but it's also very respectful. Like you guys have a lot of mutual respect for each other.
It's almost like the same thing that you said about like the friendships and like growing together. Brent and I have always somehow grown the same direction and together. And I've always respected him, his opinion, everything, you know, is like a team effort. I've never felt it like it's my way or the highway, or it's his way or the highway. We're both very just understanding of each other's feelings, and we communicate like crazy every single night. You know, we don't have all the time in the world because he works so much, but we're just having like very deep talks and conversations about just life, and not just like what Sky did that day, which I feel like a lot of relationships become so surface level, and it makes it really hard to, when people feel like they've been together for so long, just to like stick it out because you are so comfortable. And I just am the least routine person, and I just feel like we have to just keep like challenging and working on our relationship, and he will always come first to me no matter what, because that's like the root of everything in your life, is like having a good relationship. It stems from being like a good mom, a happy person, a good friend, like a good daughter. I'm just rambling now. I don't even remember the question.
Well, going off of what you were saying, this actually reminded me, this is my own question, because I know that a lot of people would definitely be able to take away something from this, but since you guys have been together for so long and now you're married and you have a child together, how do you guys keep that spark in your relationship and give each other the attention and love and just keep your relationship alive and not get too caught up in like all the other things going on outside?
I honestly just feel like I met my soulmate. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. When people ask me, it's like, I don't even really see us always like putting in work. It just has always come easy. And like, we never go to bed mad. Like, if we ever have a disagreement, he's smirking at me and we start laughing. Like if we've been going on for too long, like it just, not to just take everything so seriously. And I think people's egos get in the way of relationships. And honestly, it's just finding the right person. And if you're not with the right person, it's okay and not to be afraid, because your person will come whenever God is like willing.
And I feel like a lot of the times when there's so many issues and problems in a relationship, it's there to teach you a lesson, and God just wants you to learn a lot before you can be with the person you're meant to be with.
Of course.
Because then by the time you're with them, like you have learned so much and everything just flows.
Yeah. And you know everything you want and everything you don't want in a relationship.
Exactly. And last question, what should be solid in your relationship with, I think, yourself, your life, your partner, your marriage, just overall everything before you bring a child into the world? Like what do you think that you
Like, how did you know you were ready?
Yeah, and they just want to know like what should be solid in your relationship with your partner and yourself and everything before you have a baby.
I think you just know, like you just have this feeling. And like I was going to say, is just like happiness. Like if you're not in a happy place in your life, a baby's not going to make you happier.
Mhm.
It's going to make things so much harder. And so many people think a baby's going to fix something. I think you just know, you just feel like you are so in love with the person you're with and you're so in love with yourself that you can't wait to blend those people together and make a human.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And I feel like you are the type of person that you're just very in tune and you kind of just know that also like what's meant to be is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really force anything
Never.
and hold grudges or anything like that.
Never. Yeah. Life's too short.
I know. And I just feel so lucky and blessed to have you as a best friend.
Oh, I love you.
Me too.
I love you too, Emma.
You're just like the wisdom in my life when I talk to you.
I feel like, Jess, you're the only person that I feel like Emma doesn't get mad at.
I know. I love Emma.
You're the
She's
only
my-
person I listen to.
I know, the only person
I'll say that to
you
Maggie. I'm
listen
like,
to.
Emma thinks of me as her second big sister. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
And we all have so much fun together, and I can't wait for our trip. So everybody can subscribe to Jessica's YouTube and follow her on Instagram, because we're going on a trip together and you can see all the content from that fun trip.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. As your first guest, I'm so honored.
I know, I'm so excited. This is fun. We'll have to do another episode maybe in the future. I feel like
Yeah.
it'd be fun to do like more of a friend Q&A episode with you, because I feel like there's so much that we always talk about that we want to show online, that like a different part of us than what we show in our videos. And
Yes.
a lot of the questions today were about your life and your family and your relationship and stuff, which is fine. But I also think we should do another episode to show like the other side of you too.
Yeah, and we could just tell funny stories about like, you know, all
Yeah.
our funny stories.
And where can everybody find you online?
YouTube is just Jessica Stockstill. Instagram at Jessica Stockstill. TikTok at Jessica Stockstill _ And that's it.
Thank you all for tuning in, and thank you so much for joining us this week, Jessica. And make sure to subscribe to the podcast, listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And also, you guys, rate the podcast if you like the show, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Love you. Bye.
Bye.